Hello, this is Tola from Trifold Productions with another Blender quick tip. And in this quick tip, I'm going to show you how you can apply stitching to certain areas of your model in Blender for machinery and also for clothing by using the panel stitcher add-on. It's not free. It's about $30 for a personal license and $120 for a studio license, which is a little bit on the high end. But I'm going to show you what it can do. Now it works in Blender 2.8 all the way up to 4.2. It doesn't come with textures, so you have to apply the textures yourself. The main point of it is that it just applies stitching, so to speak, to parts of your model. It works on models that are UV unwrapped and those that aren't UV unwrapped. But with it being UV unwrapped, you have more control over where you want the stitches to be. So let's get into it. I'm going to leave a link of it below the video. Download yourselves and check it out. But the installation process is the same, and I'm using 2.9 myself for this tutorial. Once you've downloaded it, go to Edit, Preferences, Install, navigate to where you downloaded that zip folder, click on Install Add-on, and let's type in Panel. And there it is, put check in the box, let's activate it. And it's on it doesn't have its own slot, so to speak. It's in the Creator tab, and sometimes you have to kind of dig to find the Creator tab, but it's right in the Creator tab aspect of Blender. And if you want to find out where the Creator tab is, just install the ANT Landscape add-on, which comes with Blender. It's already in Blender. Activate that, and it'll automatically create a Creator tab for you, and it's right here. This is the Panel Stitcher add-on. And we're going to delete the cube because this is kind of a simple model to work on. We're going to import Suzanne or add Suzanne in our scene. Let's press delete on our keyboard. And then Shift A, go to Mesh, Monkey. And let's press 1 on our keyboard to get that frontal view. Now the add-on comes with a good amount of options to change the way your stitching lays out on your model. From the source, it has the object, collection, and templates. And when it comes to the object, what it does is that if you have an object in your scene, a cube, you model the screw yourself, just click on that object and it'll apply that as a stitching or a stitch for your model. And I'll show you how to do that. Collection, you have to just create a collection. You just create what you want to create and put it all into a collection as it is here. And use that collection to spread out the stitching over your model. And it's got a template here. Let's click on templates, and it automatically adds this like mess of I guess flat spheres onto your model. And for the template, it's got different kinds of templates: solid, which is what we're using right now, hollow, hex, Phillips, cross stitching. These are for clothing, these are for machines, as you can pretty much tell. And we want to change the scale of this because this is kind of too big. You can change the scale, the space, and the offsets. And we want to minimize or make this smaller. And you can see it looks like rivets on a machine. Now it's kind of clumped up together. This is where UV unwrapping it really helps in terms of having more control over the way this looks. So I'm going to show you how you can UV unwrap all this to make it look better. Now we're going to click on Suzanne, and then we're going to go into edit mode by pressing tab, and we're going to just put a seam, and I'm going to show you how you can apply that seam or a sharp, because you have an option in the filters here to use the angle, area, sharp, seam selection in terms of how you want the rivets or stitching to lay out on your model. I'm going to just showcase sharp and seam. I would prefer to use sharp myself because with sharp you don't have to UV unwrap it. So you just apply a sharp edge to your model and it applies the stitching to that. But let's start with seam first. So with Suzanne in edit mode by pressing tab, let's press A on our keyboard, deselect everything, press Alt, hold down Alt on our keyboard and left click on this set of vertices. And when we do that, it selects this line of vertices from front to back and all around that edge there. And then we want to press Control E in our keyboard because we want to mark that seam, and click on Mark Seam, and you can tell it's been marked because it's red. The next thing we want to do is separate our window. Let's minimize this. Hold down left mouse button and drag this over to close that out. And same thing on this side to close this out. Then go to this icon there, left click on that, and from the drop down menu click on UV editor. And then we're going to press A on our keyboard in this section. Deselect that selection and press A again. Now this is not our this is not what we're wanting to see in terms of the UV unwrapping. This is just, I don't know why it does this, why Blender does this, but this is not what we just selected. But we're going to go to UV up here and go to unwrap, and then it unwraps it according to our scene that we just set up ourselves. And then we're going to go to UV, and from that drop down menu, export UV layout. Now I'm going to go to a folder that I've created for this, Susie. I'm going to left click, right click, copy, minimize that, left click in the Blender window, press Ctrl V to paste that, enter. And I'm going to just name it Susie UV, and then click on export UV layout. And then when we open up that folder and change our viewport, you can see that our UV monkey has been unwrapped, as you can tell from it being right here. Now we're going to minimize this, join areas, and we're going to get out of edit mode by pressing tab on our keyboard. And we're going to go back to the panel stitcher add-on, which is in the creator aspect of Blender. And now we can use these options here, because what this is going to do is it's going to lay out the rivets according to the seam that we've just created. So just click on seam, and there we go. Now the rivets have been laid across the seam that we have just created. But like I said before, I don't really like UV unwrapping things, so I'm going to show you how you can do the sharp aspect of it on your model without having to UV unwrap it. Now once again, tap on having Suzanne selected, click on tab, and this time we're going to do a seam or sharp across the top of her head. So press A on our keyboard, hold on Alt, and choose this line of vertices and left click. Now it's chosen those sets of vertices. Control E once again, and we're going to click on Mark Sharp. You can tell it's been marked sharp because there's a blue line there. Get out of edit mode by pressing tab, and now turn off seam and turn on sharp. And there we go. That was easier than doing the seam part. And you want to apply this to, you can apply this to machinery or the clothing. And when it comes to clothing, all you have to do is go to rivets, the templates aspect of it, and click on stitch lengthwise. Now we have our stitching there. So that's how you can apply it to a model, the stitches to models in Blender. And if you want to use an object instead of a template, click on object, and once again click in there and choose Suzanne or whatever model you've made inside of this window of Blender. Click out. We only have Suzanne as a model. I'm gonna click on her. Now you have a whole set of little Suzanne monkey heads on top of Suzanne, which is not bad. So the add-on, once you understand it, it's pretty easy to use, and for what it does, it's not too bad. Now let's see if it'll work on a model that's not made in Blender. That's the real test for myself personally. So I'm going to go to a new scene, file, new, general. Don't save that. I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to import. Let me see. Let me copy this. Copy. That's where my imported model is. I'm going to go to File, Import, FBX, because it's an if you made a imported or made a or found an object-based model, for you it would be OBJ. Wait for an object. For me, it's going to be FBX because that's the model that I'm using. Left click in there, Control V, Enter, double click, click on my FBX model, import FBX. Let's give it a second. And there he is. This is a thumbnail that I used a long time ago for a tutorial. Left click on that. And we're going to see if the add-on works on an FBX imported model, which is what I'm using. Go back to my add-on here. I'm going to scroll down. And here it is. Go from object to templates, and rivets should pop up like it did when we had Suzanne in our scene. So templates, and we don't have much of anything here. We have some rivets there, but it's supposed to cover like the whole model. Well, I guess it doesn't work then in terms of it importing a model into Blender from an external source, because this is a model that I got from iClone that I'm using, and it doesn't work. So yeah, I guess that's the limit. So it works with models that you create in Blender, as far as I can tell, but models that you import from other 3D packages or from online, it doesn't seem to work. But you can try it out yourselves. But once again, this is the panel stitcher add-on. It makes seams and rivets on models fairly easily, and it does a great job at it. And that's today's Blender quick tip. Once again, like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one. All right, adios.